Good evening, Brian. It's Sunday, part 2. So yes, I know that you have been getting into coloring a lot lately, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I definitely understand the fun in that and the sort of peaceful meditation, mindfulness aspect of it, as well as I do agree that I think it is probably a more fulfilling and meaningful way to spend your time than by scrolling through social media. So I definitely have hats off to that. So I think in this part 2 vlog from the Sunday, I am going to talk about why making things from scratch is kind of cool. So, Brian, growing up, there are a lot of things that I feel like, in general, in our society here, in the West and in America and in the middle class, we sort of just think of certain things as being things that you don't really make at home. There are some things that my parents made from scratch growing up that, other people might buy from the store, such as pasta sauce, or I remember that one summer that Mom made a whole bunch of peach butter and apple butter and stuff like that. But generally, there's a certain class of foods that I feel like you just inadvertently, without really thinking of it, consider as foods that are store-bought, that you don't make at home. You make meals at home, you make salads and stuff like that, but there's some things like salad dressings or condiments like ketchup that you don't really make at home, you just buy them from the store. But more and more over the last couple of years, I've been, and Lulu as well, we've been trying to sort of take a step back and say, why don't we try to make some things? I mean, granted, there's a reason that most of these things are store-bought, and a lot of times it's much more convenient and easier and quicker and sometimes cheaper to buy them from the store. But in other cases, it's actually cheaper to make them at home, and in a lot of cases, you can make them not only taste better and fresher and all that, but you can also make them taste more like what you want by making them at home. So more and more over the last little bit, my general response to something has been, if it's something that we need that we don't have, it's like, well, let's see if we can make that. So as you know, I made pickles a couple of years ago for Christmas. We make salad dressings a lot, even making like ranch dressing and stuff like that, not just easy vinaigrettes. Lulu's been doing a baking project over the last few months where a lot of weekends she tries to bake something, and so we've baked sandwich bread and rolls, and actually today, for the first time, she made homemade English muffins, and oh my goodness, they are so much better than any other English muffin I've ever had. We like Trader Joe's English muffins a lot, and Thomas's are really good too, but these are so much better. Apparently they get fried instead of baked, and when you fry them, you butter up the pan, and so for some reason, I guess the ones in the grocery store, they just oil, which is good because that means that a lot of them are vegan. But at home, we use Earth Balance butter, and they're just, the outside gets all crispy and delicious and buttery, and then the inside is full of all the nooks and crannies, and they're pretty dangerously tasty. But we also, have looked into other things that we make at home, and it's just interesting to see how it's sort of like a fun learning experience to figure out how to make things that before you thought of them as, this was a whole complete thing. You don't really think of all the things that go into making it or what's involved or what the process is like. It's just sort of, this thing is an unbreakdownable unit. This is the complete thing. And you don't really think of the fact that really it's just made of other things, most of which you probably have at home. And so it's a fun learning experience to learn how to do that, but also to sort of see it in those, in that light, and to sort of think about what makes things the way they are and how you could change that. Plus, again, like I said, you can sort of customize things to make them exactly how you want. One other thing that I've made before is I've actually tried to make my own ginger ale a few times. And the nice thing about that is I find most store-bought ginger ales to be extremely sweet. I don't really like sweet sodas, but when you make it at home, you can totally customize that. So I made ginger ale that was about half as sweet as normal, and it was super good. You can also up the amount of ginger in it, for example, and that's really cool. And so I think it's really interesting and fun to figure out how to make things like that growing up were always just sort of a thing that you bought at the grocery store. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I don't know if you've ever gotten into making anything like that at home, Brian, if you, with food specifically, but other things in general too. If you've started to sort of embrace that aspect of self-sufficiency or being able to do things on your own with your own hands. If you have, I'd love to hear about it. If there's any food thing that you've made before or that you'd like to make, or any other thing like, I know you've made furniture for your bedroom, stuff like that. I'd love to hear about it because I'm starting, I think there's a lot of value in making things yourself and knowing how things are made, even if afterwards you end up realizing that it, makes more sense most of the time to buy the one that's already been made. So yeah. I think that's about all for this video, Brian, but now we are officially back on schedule. I look forward to seeing your vlog later in the next couple days this week, and I hope you have a good night.